They said the forest didn't burn naturally anymore, not in this part of Montana. I don't know why, but that line stuck with me, like a thorn in the back of my mind. They also said the tower had been empty for 3 seasons, too remote, too broken down, too many ski stories. But $1,200 a week, cash, with food, internet, and no people. I would have taken it even if they told me it was cursed. Hell, maybe I did. The tower sits up on Timberwolf Ridge, about 30 miles from the nearest real road, 40 from the town of Crescent Bend from up there. The forest stretches forever, mountains wrapped in black pine, and valleys drowning in mist, even at noon. And when night comes, it doesn't fall, it crashes. I was a firefighter, you know, 8 years down in Southern California. I thought I understood isolation, silence, darkness. But I didn't, not even close, not until I came here. I got there just before sundown. The last mile I had to hike, no road, just a narrow trail cut into the mountain. One trip up with gear, one more with food. When I first saw the tower, I actually laughed. It looked like it should have collapsed years ago. 4 metal legs, a wooden shack on top, no lights, no noise, just waiting for me. I climbed the ladder, unlocked the hatch, and stepped into my new world. 1 room, 1 bed, 1 desk, 1 radio, and windows on every wall. You know that feeling when everything's too quiet? Like the whole world's holding its breath? That's what it felt like. But weirdly, the place was clean. Dusty, yeah, but no dead mice, no rot. Someone had been here not long ago. On the desk there was a letter, sealed. The envelope was yellowed, but the writing was sharp. Black ink, heavy strokes. I opened it, and I read this. Rules for the Timberwolf Fire Tower. 1. Never respond to voices on Channel 9, even if they know your name, even if they sound like someone you've lost. 2. If you see smoke that doesn't rise, log the time and direction. Do not report it. It disappears by nightfall, always does. 3. At dusk, close all the windows. Never, ever look at the tree line after sunset, they notice. 4. Do not enter the cellar under the trap door. There's nothing for you down there, and no one leaves the same. 5. Burn this letter on your 7th night if you're still here. Signed, T. Delaney, Watchman, 2009 to 2021. I read it again, and again, not because I believed it, but because it didn't sound like a joke. It sounded like a man warning the next poor soul in line, like someone trying to pass the torch, or the curse. I folded the letter, put it in my bag, and told myself it was just some guy with too much time and a twisted sense of humor. Maybe he cracked. Maybe I would too. Outside, the sun was gone. The ridge cast shadows like claws across the valley, that kind of dark that feels full. I unpacked, ate cold beans from a can, took a swig from my thermos, then turned on the radio, channels 1 through 8, static, channel 9. It was breathing, not wind, not static, breathing, slow, wet, close, like someone was sitting just behind the speaker, trying not to cry. I turned it off and sat there in the silence. I didn't sleep that night, not a minute. That was day 1, and the last time I thought I had any control. Day 2 started quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that isn't peaceful. It's suspicious, like the world was waiting for me to make a move. I woke up just before dawn, didn't remember falling asleep, hadn't dreamed. Or maybe I did, but the dream stayed behind in the dark. The tower groaned a little as the sun touched the windows. That was the only sound. No birds, no wind, no rustling in the trees. Just the creaking of old wood and metal, like the place was breathing in its sleep. I boiled water for coffee, instant bitter stuff, but it helped. Then I checked the logbook, the one Delaney left behind. Thick stack of pages bound with twine, dozens of entries. Most were normal, smoke reports, weather updates, maintenance notes. But every now and then, there were warnings. Saw her again. Heard my name in the static. Smoke west of ridge didn't rise. Marked it. Didn't report. Channel 9 said my daughter's name last night. I stopped reading. That last one hit a little too close, too real. Her name was Isabel, 8 years old. She died in a fire I couldn't stop. Not on duty. At home. Electrical short. Faulty breaker. I was 5 minutes too late. There was nothing I could do. But I still hear her. Some nights, calling me, in that soft, sleepy voice. Daddy. I didn't tell anyone that. Not even the grief counselor. And yet, here it was, written by a man I'd never met. Channel 9 said my daughter's name. Mid-morning, I stepped out onto the catwalk. The sky was crystal clear. No clouds, no smoke. Nothing but pines and rock and sky. For a second, it felt normal, like maybe all this was just in my head. Stress, guilt, isolation. I walked a slow lap around the tower, looking through my binoculars at every ridge, every valley. Nothing until I saw it. Far in the distance, southwest slope. A column of smoke, thin, barely there. And it wasn't rising. It hovered just above the trees, like fog caught in place. Then, it folded in on itself and vanished. No wind, no change in light, just gone. Exactly like the letter said. I didn't report it. I wrote the time and direction in the log, and I didn't turn on the radio. Not yet. That night, the rules came back to me, one by one, like whispers in the wind. Close all windows. Don't watch the trees after sunset. And above all, don't listen to voices that know your name. But that night, something changed. It started around 2 in the morning, a scratching. Light at first, barely there, like mice in the walls. Then louder, more urgent, coming from beneath the trapdoor. I froze. The cellar. Rule number 4, don't open it. No one comes back the same. I stood there, barefoot, holding my flashlight like a weapon. The scratching stopped. Silence. Then a voice, muffled, weak, familiar. Daddy? My heart stopped. It was her voice. Isabel, soft, sleepy, just like I remembered. Daddy, it's dark. Please open the door. I backed away, shaking. It couldn't be. It wasn't her. It was something using her, using my memories. She'd been gone for 2 years, buried under a white headstone with a stuffed bear carved into it. Please, the voice said, more desperate now. I'm cold. I sank to the floor, hands over my ears, eyes shut tight, and I stayed that way until the first hint of sunlight hit the tower windows. When I finally looked again, the trapdoor was untouched. No marks, no dust disturbed, but I knew what I heard. And worse, it knew me. It knew who I was, what I'd lost. It was using her voice, her words, and I wasn't sure how much longer I could ignore it. Day 3. I didn't leave the tower, not even to stretch. I couldn't shake the voice from last night, my daughter's voice, Isabel. It echoed in my skull long after it stopped, and I kept wondering, what if? What if it was her? What if this place, connected to something I couldn't explain, something beyond grief, beyond guilt? No. No, I couldn't think like that. That was the kind of thinking that got people killed out here. I stayed busy, cleaned the windows, organized the ration shelf, wrote useless notes in the logbook just to fill the pages. Anything to avoid that trapdoor, anything to avoid Channel 9. At one point I caught myself staring out at the trees. The sun was high, no smoke, no movement. Then I blinked, and one of the trees moved. Not swaying, not shaking, shifted, like it stepped out of place. Just one. Then it was still again. Perfect. Just trees. My heart was thudding in my chest. I told myself it was light and shadow, heat haze, my tired eyes. But a part of me already knew. The tower didn't just watch the forest. The forest watched back. Night came fast. Too fast. The sun just slipped away, like someone yanked it off stage. I shut all the windows, latched them, taped the edges, sat in the middle of the floor with the radio off, back against the bed, flashlight in my lap. I wasn't letting anything in, but it didn't matter. At 2:46 a.m., Channel 9 turned itself on. The knob didn't move. The power light didn't even glow, it just spoke. A man's voice this time, deep, calm, familiar. My father. He died 5 years ago. Stroke. Never made it to the hospital. And now, here he was, saying my name. Evan, son, I'm proud of you. You did everything you could. Tears hit my cheeks before I realized I was crying. It was his voice, every word exactly how he used to say it. But that was the trick, wasn't it? The voices weren't ghosts. They were hooks, bait, lures. And I was dangling too close. I ripped the radio cord from the wall, smashed it against the desk, once, twice, again. Static squealed like a scream. Then silence. But I knew better. The silence was just another mask. Day 4, I woke up on the floor. Didn't remember falling asleep again. My throat was dry. My skin burned. Eyes bloodshot in the mirror. There was a message scrawled on the inside of the window. In ash. From the inside. How you see us? I backed away, nearly tripped over the trapdoor. That's when I realized something was missing. The rules. Delaney's letter. Gone. Not in my bag. Not under the bed. Not in the drawer. Vanished. And the radio? Whole again. Cord plugged in. Dial glowing red. Channel 9. Waiting. I didn't touch it. Didn't go near it. But I could feel it. Like heat behind a closed door. Like breath on the back of my neck. And outside. The forest had changed. The trees weren't just trees anymore. They leaned in, gathered closer. Like they were surrounding the tower. Watching, whispering, waiting. That night I heard footsteps, not inside, outside. On the catwalk, heavy, measured. Boots, and a knock, soft, polite. 3 taps. I didn't answer, I didn't move. I held my breath and watched the doorknob. It didn't turn, but the knocking returned. Again, and again, and again, at perfect intervals. 3 taps, 5 seconds, 3 taps, 5 seconds, over and over, for an hour. I almost opened the door. Almost. But something told me if I did, I wouldn't be the one looking out. I'd be looking in, and something, would be looking through me. Day 5. I woke to blood on the floor. Mine. Nosebleed, apparently. Or that's what I told myself. But there were footprints too, leading away from the bed. Ashy, bare, small. A child's. They stopped right at the trapdoor. And beneath it, I heard breathing. Not hers, not Isabel's, something deeper. Wetter. Wrong. That was day 5. And I was running out of rules to follow. Because whatever this place was, it didn't care about rules. It wrote them. And now, it was rewriting me. Day 6. I stopped keeping track of time. Didn't write in the log. Didn't check the weather. Didn't drink water until my lips cracked and bled. Something had changed in me. And something had changed in the tower. The air felt heavier. Like it wasn't just oxygen anymore, like I was breathing in memories that weren't mine. The windows were wrong now, they didn't reflect. They showed things behind me that weren't there. And the forest? It wasn't just watching anymore. It was coming closer. That morning I saw a shape, not far off. Among the trees, tall, thin, wrapped in animal skins, face blurred, like fog had settled over it. But the eyes, those yellow eyes, like glass filled with fire, they stared at me, not through the binoculars, not across the distance, at me, like it knew I was watching, like it wanted me to see. Then it lifted its hand and pointed, right at the tower, right at me. Then it vanished, just blinked out of existence. I almost left that day, packed my bag, climbed halfway down the ladder. But something stopped me, not fear, not money. It was the letter, the one Delaney wrote. I remembered the last rule. Burn this letter on the 7th night, if you're still here. It wasn't just a warning, it was a countdown. And I needed to know what happened on night 7, why he stayed, what he saw, what he became. Night 6. I sat by the radio, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. It had been silent for hours, dead, like the storm had passed. Then, a voice. Not Isabel. Not my father. My own. "You left me," it said. "You watched the house burn. You stood in the driveway and didn't move." The voice wasn't yelling. It wasn't angry. It was tired. Hollow, like it had carried the weight of my guilt longer than I had. I stood there frozen, because I had said those words before, to myself, alone, in the mirror, on the worst night of my life, and now on the tower was saying them back. Midnight came. The wind howled louder than I'd ever heard. The whole structure shook. The forest outside was alive with movement, shapes darting between trees, too tall, too fast, too broken, and beneath me, from the cellar, the sound of footsteps, coming up the trapdoor, slow, heavy. The wood creaked, once, twice, then silence, then a voice, close, right beneath me. "You're the offering, Evan." That was it. The moment, the truth. This wasn't just about watching for fire. It never was. The tower wasn't a lookout, it was an altar. Day 7. I didn't sleep, didn't eat. Just sat. The sun rose but didn't bring light. The fog was too thick. Thicker than it had been all week. It pressed against the windows like hands. By noon I knew what I had to do, the trapdoor, the thing I'd avoided for 6 days. I opened it. The stairs creaked with every step. The air down there was wet. Smelled like rot and stone and something burnt a long, long time ago. I found carvings on the walls, symbols I didn't understand, claw marks in the concrete and bones, dozens of bones, some animal, some not. And in the center, a fire pit, cold, surrounded by 4 wooden posts, each one carved with a different name: Delaney, Martin, Lopez, Carter, and one last name, mine, Evan Cole, already burned into the wood. I fell to my knees. It was already written, already decided. I was never meant to survive this place. But then I saw it. The letter, Delaney's letter, folded neatly beside a small pile of ash. He didn't burn it, not really. He left it for me. One final act of rebellion. And I realized something. If the tower expected me to burn, then maybe the fire could burn it instead. That was day 7, and the first time I made a choice, not to obey, not to run, but to end it. VV Night 7. I waited for sunset like a man waits for execution. Not scared, not surprised, just tired. I wasn't leaving the tower. Not now. It needed to end here, one way or another. The moment the sun dropped below the ridge, the tower changed, not gradually, all at once. The air turned cold, not chilly, freezing. Frost crept across the glass, every window, from the outside, and in the fog, shapes, dozens, tall, wrong, moving like broken puppets through the trees. I couldn't see their faces, but I felt their eyes, all of them, watching, waiting, and in the middle of them, one figure, closer, still, the one from before, the yellow eyes, the bone necklace, the not quite human skin that seemed to twitch and ripple in the wind. It raised its hand again, but this time, it wasn't pointing, it was reaching. Inside the tower, the trapdoor blew open. A gust of ash and heat spilled out. The fire pit below lit, alive, burning blue. And my name on that wooden post? It was glowing, smoldering like hot metal. Then the voice came. Every voice I'd heard that week, all at once. My daughter, my father, my own. The woman from the radio, Delaney. You know what you are. You're the offering. You're the keeper. You're the fire. They circled me, spoke from every wall, every corner of my mind. I fell to my knees, not in fear, not even in pain, in grief, because part of me believed them. Maybe I was meant for this. Maybe the fire had always followed me. Maybe it had been waiting, but then I remembered something. Her laugh. Isabel's laugh. Not the voice from the trapdoor, not the illusion from the radio. Her real laugh. From a summer afternoon, sprinklers in the yard, bare feet on hot concrete, her giggles echoing like a song. That memory, that was real. And that's what I had to protect. Not myself, not the tower, but her memory, her peace. So I made a decision. I ran to the desk, grabbed the flare gun from the emergency kit, ripped open the fuel can under the bed, soaked everything, the mattress, the radio, the trap door, everything. Then I stepped to the center of the room, pulled out Delaney's letter, the original, still folded, still intact, and I lit it. One spark. It caught instantly. A flash of orange, then blue. The fire wanted to burn, like it had been starving. The room lit up in seconds, walls, ceiling, the floor beneath my feet. The trapdoor screamed, not creaked, screamed, like something beneath it was burning alive. The voices wailed, one by one, like dying radios, fading into static. Outside, I saw the figures recoil. They staggered, howled. The fire was hurting them, or maybe freeing them. And in that moment, I knew what I had to do. I climbed down the tower, flames licking the top behind me, the air thick with smoke, ran out into the clearing and watched the whole thing go. The tower collapsed in on itself, a pyre in the shape of guilt. The sky turned red, then black, then still. And when the flames died, the fog lifted. The forest was quiet. For the first time in 7 nights, it was quiet. I left Timberwolf Ridge the next morning. Didn't take anything with me. No photos, no notes, not even the flare gun, just the clothes on my back, and the memory of a fire I chose, a fire that didn't take, a fire that gave back. 2 months later, I visited Isabel's grave, sat with her, told her the truth, that I'd heard her voice, that I almost followed it, that I missed her every second of every day, and that I would never let anything wear her voice again. I promised her peace, and this time, I meant it. Some nights, I still dream of the tower, of the cold, the fire, the voices, but now when I wake up, there's silence, just silence. And sometimes silence is all the closure we get.